Time to welcome in our good friend Alum, Washington Capitals TV analyst and an NHL veteran and alum of the SJHL's Estevan Bruins. Hey, Al, welcome back to the show. Going to jump right into this one. The poll question for us today is, given what happened in Mini yesterday, what do you prefer for a hockey game? High scoring, low scoring, or both?
I think I prefer both. I don't want to see every game the same every night. I hated the trap era of hockey. There were far too many coaches that couldn't coach back then. And the first one knew how to, the second one knew how to do it, but the 30th guy or the whoever it was, 24th guy, certainly didn't know how to do it. And it ruined hockey for a good amount of years, so much so that we had to change all the rules. I loved my 80s and 90s hockey, but you know what also made 80s and 90s hockey fun was pushing and shoving, one referee, some of the thuggery, a lot of the physical play, the pushing, the fighting, the game misconducts. I miss a lot of that, but I'm not a dinosaur. I know that everything evolves, but I don't want every game the same every night. And I loved the third period of Minnesota yesterday. I'm not on the coaching staff of either team, but it was incredible. It was very entertaining.
I guess that's the point. It depends on your perspective. Coaches pull their hair out with a game like that, but the fans obviously love it, and the media too. Moving on to this, who are the top three teams in the NHL right now in your mind, and would you agree that it changes on a daily basis?
It pretty much changes. You know, it's probably, I think I've told you before, I believe it's cyclical. It's like teams are who they are for a week or two, and then, you know, they kind of get found out by other teams, or they trying to figure it out themselves to how to play against other teams. When I look at, you know, the most entertaining team and the team that doesn't always sell out, but it has the most value for its ticket prices, is the Florida Panthers. They are by far the most exciting. They're the most annoying, depending on which side of the fence you're on for cheering for them. But they play a great brand of offensive hockey. They play physical. They play gritty. They're in it every night. I look at them. I look at the Boston Bruins, who I think are very well coached and excellent goaltending, a great, you know, philosophy of team defense. I don't know if they have enough guns to go that far, because last year they did it with Bergeron and Krejci, but those guys weren't there in the playoffs. They got punked pretty easy. I don't think Zacha and Coyle are two guys to take them to the Stanley Cup. The Dallas Stars, another team that I love watching, and then I go to the other side. I look at Vancouver and Edmonton. Those two teams, if they add some pieces, I know I've named a few teams, but those two teams, they add a couple of pieces, one of them will be playing in the Stanley Cup Finals.
You know, the last time I had you on, I asked you all about your career, which I'm glad I did, but I didn't ask you much about the Capitals. And there's a lot of talk amongst my hockey friends about the new rink you're getting, and I feel like not a lot is known. What can you tell us about what they're doing for a new home for the Capitals?
Well, one of the things with what the Capitals playing right now, Capital One, people around here, I've got a lot of great memories in that arena, but it's obsolete. And when I look at it, and it's kind of become a crime-ridden part of town, and crime has been out of control in D.C., but we'll forget about that. I travel around the National Hockey League. Now that you're starting to travel around the National Hockey League, you see how great some of the buildings are. And this thing in D.C. is somewhat obsolete. The footprint is not that big. You know, like a lot of teams have, we'll say, I used to play hockey in Estevan, Saskatchewan, in a very small ice surface and arena. The new one feels like it's an Olympic sheet, even though it's just NHL regulation. It's a lot bigger. It's not obsolete. But it couldn't play in the Western Hockey League. When I think of what they want to do over the river in Virginia, basically you just got to swim across the river, cross a bridge. It's not that far. It's less than a mile from the existing arena. It's just, you know, D.C. is made of D.C., Maryland, Virginia. It's all very compact. But they want to have a wow factor. When you walk into the new arena, they want it to be the nicest arena in the United States, basketball or hockey. The same builders or the architects will be the people that have designed the Golden State Warriors. I hope they take a lot out of what Edmonton's done, what Detroit's done. But it's about, you know, getting that. No public money will be spent on this. There will be no taxpayer money. It's going to come from the Washington Capitals and a bond on 2 loans through the state of Virginia that they will repay back with, you know, with ticket sales and parking and everything. There'll always be a ticket tax. There'll always be that comes out of the Capitals' pockets. It'll go to paying off that bond. By the time it's all said and done, they'll have paid $12 billion of the $2 billion or so loan. So It's state of the art. It's well thought out. The plans are going to be amazing. I wish it was happening yesterday because I'm pretty excited about it. I hope it does happen.
Okay, so a couple quick things. Why is it a swear word to use taxpayer dollars? At Super Bowl, I was in Vic and Anthony's Steakhouse in the Golden Nugget, and the server goes, "You be sure and talk up our new football stadium on your show because it was taxpayers' money that built that thing." And I was like, bro, I wouldn't be here right now giving you my money if it wasn't for that stadium. You know, like, what? Why is that? Number two, yours and my. Yeah, go ahead. Go.
We're in a very different place politically in this city here. And there's a lot of government workers. There's a lot of people that live off the government one way or the other. And when you do that, they will pit you, the media on that side of the argument will pit the billionaire ownership group against Joe Public. And Joe Public has had it because we're getting taxed, on everything now. And and if they stay in the current arena, what the mayor wants to do here, she wants to tax all the surrounding businesses in Washington, D.C. and make them pay for what she would do on the improvements in Capital One Arena. So Joe Public doesn't want to do it. So what they're doing is the state of Virginia has one of the best credit ratings in the United States. It's a AAA bond rating, and the Caps would get 2 loans from that, and they would pay it themselves. It's not some greedy billionaire. It's very well thought out. People are tired of paying for billionaires to get these big toys and all of a sudden that amass, the Capitals organization with the Wizards and the arena and everything that they have right now, and the company that I work for is currently worth around $4 billion. So Joe Public has a lot of reasons. It always comes down to dollars. We hate the word taxes. Every one of us hates the word taxes. You and I both live in tax-free states. I'm a Texan. You're a Floridian now. It's nice not paying a state tax. So that's what it comes down to, and I am with you. What the Washington Capitals have done downtown in that area known as Chinatown, they've created a ton of businesses. But you know what? A lot of businesses have left since the pandemic. Something like 57% of the restaurants in downtown D.C. have shuttered since the start of COVID. So it's about how many people are you going to get downtown. People don't work downtown anymore. They're staying at home. So it becomes a political argument. It becomes one of those things. If you do it and you give back to the community, the state of Virginia ends up making a boatload of money off of this deal.
We have 90 seconds, Al. I never asked you this, but I wanted to. Alex Ovechkin's statement that he and Sidney Crosby saved the NHL almost 20 years ago. How'd you feel about that, and do you agree?
It doesn't really matter to me. Ovi and Sid were the centerpieces of the National Hockey League forever. The ratings on our games when these two teams play and what they've done around the league. When they go, the majority of their career, they sold out every arena in every road game where they played. And there was Ovi jerseys, there's Sidney Crosby jerseys everywhere. They gave it an American focal point. So Canada doesn't need any help. In the U.S., we had these two gentlemen that wore their heart and soul on their sleeves of their jerseys, and they put it all on the line. They did an incredible job. And I don't mind if he thinks that way. Wayne Gretzky saved the NHL when, unfortunately, he got traded from my hometown Edmonton Oilers to the LA Kings. What it did for the growth of hockey in the United States cannot be measured. So we can't measure what he says. It doesn't bother me that he says that. I know that Sid is so humble and quiet and shy and reserved, a lot like Gretz. He's not going to say something like that. And remember, everything always gets lost in translation with these Russian hockey players.
Fair. Well, you're humble, too. You could have said, my old team, the Oilers, and you'd have been right, but you never say that. You say your hometown Oilers. Ted in Red Deer says, always interesting and awesome when Alan May is on. I agree. Al, thanks for the time. Can't wait to do it again. Enjoy the hockey.
Thank you, Rod. Thank you, Ted.
Washington Capitals TV analyst Alan May.